One of the year's most stacked fight cards, UFC 225, takes place this weekend in the United Center in Chicago, Illinois, and if you needed any convincing of exactly how unmissable it will be, then look no further. Sometimes putting too much weight on a event's lineup on paper can leave something of an empty feeling if things don't exactly measure up. We've seen it before. Main card filled to the brim with bland decisions and uneventful exchanges, and an undercard that lacks the type of smaller-named fighters able to make a splash when the time comes to throw down. UFC 225 could well have the densest lineup we've seen so far this year, and while there are no guarantees that it won't turn out to be a stinker, there is every chance the action on June 9th will be everything the fans are hoping for and more. Tonight's main event, offering a rematch of one of the most fascinating middleweight title clashes in some time, will take place as champion Robert Whittaker looks to defend his title against the man who quite a few people point to as one of the most dangerous matchups in the UFC today, Yoel Romero. Many will say that this fight is too fresh in the memory to run back, and, in truth, they're not wrong, but a fighter with Romero's athleticism and explosiveness could turn that original result on its head in an instant, making this an unmissable headliner. In a time where interim titles have lost some of their shine, the co-main event pairing of the former lightweight champion Rafael dos Anjos and the streaking contender Colby Covington makes more sense than most would care to admit. The champion at 170 pounds has been absent for almost 11 months now due to shoulder surgery, and with one of the deepest pools of talent on the roster to be found beneath him, giving two of the division's very best some extra incentive really can't hurt. And stylistically, it's a bit of a pick-em. We've seen RDA having trouble with wrestlers in the past, and Covington's size may well be a major factor. Over 5 rounds it could really go either way, and with the champ sitting to one side, for now, look to this fight to establish one single, undeniable opponent for Tyron Woodley upon his return. It's hard to know exactly what to make of the women's 145 pounds division since its inception. Sure, the entire thing was devised as a hunting ground for the reigning champion Cris Cyborg, but in UFC 225's main card dip into the featherweight ranks, we may well have the best possible matchup for the division's growth. The former bantamweight champion Holly Holm may have fallen on tough times since her stunning co-win over Ronda Rousey back in 2015, but make no mistake, she remains one of the most technical strikers in the sport today, and even though she fell short in her last outing against the champ, her team at Jackson Wink will know that they perhaps have a greater chance than most at pulling off the upset. Her opponent, Megan Anderson, has been cited as perhaps the biggest threat to Cyborg's crown in contention today, and with a 4-fight win streak that includes victories over Charmaine Tweed and Peggy Morgan in Invicta FC, she could well find herself next in line for the Brazilian if all goes well for her on Saturday night. Down the card, a pair of crucial heavyweight clashes between two legends and two rising prospects takes place as Andrei Arlovski meets the unbeaten Tai Tuivasa on the main card, and Alistair Overeem faces Curtis Blades on the prelims. In a division where a fresh injection of talent is desperately needed, look to these matchups as ones that could well shake things up for Stipe Miocic's 265 pounds roster. Two #1 contender battles in two of the UFC's most underrated weight classes will take place far below the main card as Joseph Benavidez looks to earn himself a third crack at the champ Demetrius Johnson, as unlikely as that might be, by defeating the rising force that is Sergio Pettis. At women's strawweight, the former champion Carla Esparza will take on Claudia Gadelha in another matchup that could see a new challenger emerge to Rose Namajunas' crown. Both have proven their elite-level abilities in the past, and with a new champ in town, the era that saw Joanna Jędrzejczyk rule with an iron fist will allow fighters like these to really flourish in her absence. Veterans like Rashad Evans, Clay Guida, Ricardo Lamas and Charles Oliveira also feature further down the pecking order, and of course, the contest between Phil CM Punk, Brooks and Mike Jackson is still happening on the main card, if you're into that sort of thing, that is. Cillian Cunningham, Pundit Arena.